Yeah. So
All right,
not
everybody.
me, but
I'm gonna go enjoy some. Chocolate.
do that.
Wait, did you bring me the chocolate? Yeah. Can I eat it off your boobies, please? Cool. That'd be fun.
That was the Asian guy, wasn't it?
I
Did you
just
say
made that up.
A lot of these I get pleasure out of watching, and it's a lot of entertainment value. Those ones I don't get as much.
It's the cleanest, best pleasure.
That, oh my good God.
The cleanest, best pleasure is to have sex with a 13-year-old girl.
That guy was screwed in the head.
He's the one who just admitted it straight up.
Pleasure.
He goes, I know it sounds bad, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it would just be, to me, the cleanest, best pleasure. The cleanest, best pleasure. Have sex with a 13-year-old girl. Yeah, I know it sounds bad, but it is what it is.
Chris Hansen doesn't even know what to say in response to that. That's one of the times where Stone Phillips is actually right, where Chris Hansen, our own Chris Hansen, was actually surprised because he's not even used to that. He's used to people trying to defend themselves. And I guess I kind of answered my question with this next guy, but there's this Asian guy that, I talked about him 2 weeks ago. He shows up and he says before even showing up that he did not want to have sex.
Yep.
And in person, he says, we're not doing it.
But there was something he didn't bring. He says he will on his next visit.
Did you bring any condoms or anything?
I was thinking, today we should definitely, kind of get to know each other a little bit more, and then definitely next time I could bring them.
He even brought her a little koala, I think.
Yeah,
he brought her
a bunch of presents and stuff, and so much so that the person who uploaded it called him the Santa Predator. And he got prison time as well. But if these guys that don't even show up are getting prison time, then I guess it makes sense that if simply because you did show up, but he didn't have condoms. They could say that because he brought all the stuff that, he said he would bring, that they have intent, but that one felt a little bad to me. Because you could tell he was just like a lonely guy.
Yeah. And you can tell that with some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them,
they seem like harmless for some of them. There was one actually that I just saw who was let go. They dropped all charges against him because it turned out he did not say anything sexual in the chat. Have you seen that one? Chris Hansen interrogates him. He gets arrested. He goes to the police station, and they're like, he was later released that day because they found out that there was no sexual conversation happening in the chat, so there's
first
times,
and only.
Yeah, but there's times where they push so hard to get these guys there. It's no coincidence that there's so many showing up, you know what I mean? Yes, there's a lot of predators out there, but some of them, they are definitely pushing along. They're sort of, it's where that sort of entrapment thing comes into play, because they really are trying all they possibly can to get them to come to the house, and to bring things, to show intent and all this kind of stuff. But there was one guy who actually turned out to be quite a piece of shit. But he had the charges dropped against him, and he was the role-playing predator, the one that said it was a role-playing chat room. NBC, you better look into it, because it was a role-playing chat room. There's plenty of people out there like me that they're
Oh
they're
my
going
God,
in a role
that
playing
guy?
chat.
You got the phone records, taped conversations. Am I being held up here?
You're free to walk out the same door you want
Do
to.
y'all want to interview? Hey, how y'all doing? Okay.
Rooms.
His role-playing chat room, dude.
Yeah.
The one who had like his wife and his kid outside.
Bro,
waiting.
does it look like I need a 13-year-old, bro? I mean, look
Shit,
at
I
me,
got all
man.
kind of girls, man.
Yeah, yeah, that guy. He's runner up for my favorite. He's my second favorite. Yes, and it was his sister that was outside that drove him there with his niece in the car, who was like 3 years old. And what was so funny about her is I actually wrote down her exact quote. He said they go to her and they're like, your brother is arrested because he was trying to have sex with a 13-year-old. And she goes, he wasn't supposed to be having sex with her. she was just supposed to go with us. We were picking her up for the party.
So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree with this
Apparently not.
family.
Because you'd expect that they would tell her and she'd go, say what now?
Right.
It was a 13-year-old that this is who we were picking up. But the fact that she just goes, we were just supposed to go out with her. He wasn't supposed to be having sex with. Like, that was so funny. And you could tell by the way that the police were handling her too, that they could tell she was a little crazy, because they were like, get into the car and sit down, get into the car and sit down. So that was pretty good. And then so he got off later on because they must have discovered that it really was a role-playing chat room, despite what they said in the episode. In the episode, Chris Hansen said, well, we talked to Perverted Justice and they said that it wasn't a role-playing chat room, and in fact was a 21 and up singles chat room or something like that. But they must have found out it really was a role-playing chat room because he was let go. Dang. And he,
it was probably Frag getting a little carried away with the chats. There's something about that guy that I'm just gonna say this, I don't like.
Is he the big bald guy?
The big bald fat guy that Dell's partner in crime. I think he either gets off on the conversations or he's a predator himself.
The word's out around here. Greenville's dead. We could say Greenville have these chat rooms. These guys stop talking.
People were getting a little cagey inside the house, wondering what was going on.
I'm not gonna lie. There's something that just strikes me weird about that guy.
The fact that they don't use Perverted Justice anymore, like they stopped using it for all of Hansen versus Predator. It became a different company altogether. I can't think of what they're called, but it wasn't them anymore. It makes me wonder what Dell and Frag were getting up to. You know what I mean? Because they both were doing some questionable things in all reality in order to get certain things to happen. But that guy got off, and then he was arrested like 20 more times over the course of his life for doing the same thing. So, and then the army guy, the guy from the army, he got off, and he was the one where his mom and dad paid $100,000 to get a lawyer for him and got him off of the charges. And that guy should not have gotten off. He was very honest too, because he showed up, he drove 5 hours, and very much was going to have sex with her. And when he was in his little interrogation in the Winnebago, he was like, yeah, I mean, maybe have sex, but definitely get a blowjob. Like, he was just so upfront about it. And he's like, yeah, I just really wanted a blowjob. And that guy got off? Are you kidding me? And so his parents were, threatening to sue NBC for that $100,000 to get their money back. But karma got him. Karma got him real good, because even though he's still alive today, as far as I know of, he became a crystal meth addict, and he's been arrested so many times since then. So it's it's unfortunate, but It happens.
Yes.
It happens. So I wanted to briefly mention the really scary predators that give me like a bad feeling in my stomach. The ones that they find out had like brought like duct tape and ropes and knives and stuff that they end up finding in the, you know, the trunk of their car. That's always
that's always
real
disgusting.
nasty. Yeah, it's like they were definitely planning on killing somebody. That's for sure.
They're killing them or forcing them into the, the sex trafficking.
Yeah, that too. Yep. Sex trafficking. That's 100% a possibility. And the one guy that Chris Hansen knew from the commuter train. That's a good one.
Oh God, no, it's Chris.
Now I'm watching from the monitor in the other room as he walks in, and something strikes me. He looks familiar. I couldn't put my finger on it. And it dawns on me that this is a fellow I had met on the commuter train years ago.
When Lawrence sees me, he bolts, gripped in sheer panic.
What are you doing here? Chris, please.
He runs out the door. Now the man I know from the train is about to be derailed.
Yeah, like, oh God, Chris, sorry. And he immediately
like
just
bolts.
Yeah, he immediately bolts out of that house.
And then in the interrogation, he's like, yeah, and I knew Chris. I see him on the
he's like,
train.
we're friends. He's an old friend of mine. And they're like, yeah, well,
wow.
That's not gonna help you, buddy. There was a weird early one where there was 3 guys that showed up. It was like the main guy, and he stayed outside, and then he made like a child
go inside.
Yeah, and then a slightly older kid go in for him.
Yep, I remember that one.
Some brought candy, some brought condoms, but one man brought something we didn't expect. A warning, some of what you are about to see and hear is explicit. Here's Chris Hansen.
Coming up, a new approach.
Here we got 3 guys.
Sending in a scout to make sure the coast is clear.
So weird. And they had no idea what they were there for either. So I don't know what he possibly could have told them.
For scary predators, there's the one guy that brought his son with him. That always really disgusting.
Yes.
That he was
that in the notes.
That he was going to go have sex with this other little kid, and that his son was going to wait in the other room. That's what the plan was. It said in the chat log. But
really? Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you still don't know. And that's disgusting.
Yeah, that one really.
And I'm glad that Chris had enough fucking tact. I don't know if he would nowadays, but at least he was like, because you have your child with you, I'm not going to conduct this any further, but we know why you're here and you need to step outside.
Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. We're doing a story on adults beating children. And since you have your child here, I'm not going to pursue this.
Yeah, he conducted himself very well. The police really didn't, though.
You come here. Come here.
Like you're ruining that kid's life at the moment. You know what I mean? Not because you're arresting his father. That has to happen, and it's good that it happens. But he's gonna have like PTSD of cops yelling in his face. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Settle down there.
You come here. You come here. Let go of the child.
As gently as the female officer scooped him up, he still had to see his father get arrested.
Chris Hansen,
like
went
this
about
guy's
it
fat
the correct
as fuck.
way.
He's not going anywhere.
No, and you're just making it worse on the kid. And then they were like, the mother showed up to pick up the child.
And what pisses me off, obviously, what pissed me off the most is that it's a predator. His kid is there, blah blah. But when he's sitting in the back seat of the car and he just does the whole, "Can I have my son, please?" And it's like, you don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on. I hate that. That'll point that little tidbit out. Yeah.
I hope that he legally cannot step anywhere near that kid. Legally. because that disgusts me. And then the guy with the damn trying to force the girl to have sex with the cat disgusts me as well.
Oh, he's another naked Indian. He's the Indian guy. Yeah,
Yep.
another naked predator.
Yep. And I'm just like,
and
I
then
don't
when
like
Chris
any of
Hansen
that.
brings it up, the guy like laughs about it. He just goes, and it's like, dude, it's not funny.
Saw that running around naked got you pretty dried out then, huh? So you're promising me right now that you'll never...
I'm promising myself that I'm not...
Hook up with a 14-year-old girl online, tell her to have sex with a cat, and walk into her house naked.
Not even under 19.
No. And Chris Hansen was like, you're going to ruin this girl's life. You know, which they would have anyway, obviously, but you're really going to ruin their life when you make them have sex with an animal. Yeah, those ones are really particularly nasty to me. And I always just hope that they throw them in prison and, you know, throw away the key in those instances, because those ones I don't feel even quantum. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Even just a tiny bit of remorse for them at all.
You don't feel
those
any
people are disgusting
for them.
No, I don't. So yeah, I would say that was everything in my notes. If you want, other than, you know, just potentially interjecting anything that you wanted to talk about before we wrap it up, but I think that we should end this on our favorite predators. Obviously, I already kind of showed my hand.
Oh, there's so before we do that, I don't know if you ever thought about this, but real impromptu. Who's your favorite decoy?
I'm so happy that you brought this up. Okay, so I was gonna make a note about this and I forgot. You gotta go with the 45-year-old small person. You gotta go with her.
my brother who's doing the you like this? Me and my dad made this.
No,
no, I live here. Just me, my mommy, and my daddy.
Not that guy. I love that guy though. My God, that guy. He's every bit of like 32 years old, and he's just like buzz cuts his hair and just talks
you
like
can
a
see
kid.
like his bulging veins on his face and his fucking
his wrinkles
biceps
and stuff. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, no, that guy's a good one. But this was a really early one. It's a girl, and she is, I don't want to say the other word because I think it's offensive, but she's a small person. Like, she is only like 4 feet tall, and she's like 45 years old. She's like this 45-year-old, she, you know, a little bit overweight, pudgy, small person. And it's like, there is no way in hell these guys are falling for this, but they do somehow. They always say like, you look different than your pictures, but nobody like leaves after seeing her
with like pretty curly brown hair. She does. I know it's like 480p, but even maybe 160p. But I don't think it's like a 45-year-old woman.
Well, it's like the time period. I actually made a joke, like I put it in the messages. I put it in the comments and nobody's responded to me yet, but I went, oh good, this is back in the day where the decoys were older than the predators. Because she's like there. I didn't think she was as old as she was at first, but I watched some more of it and I'm like, I think she's pretty old. Like, she was like leaning up against the pool table and she's like, you ever have sex on a pool table?
Did you ever do it on the pool table?
Yeah, once.
Really?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Wow.
That's about the only thing I'm any good at on the pool table.
Yeah, that's about the only thing I do there on the pool table.
She's much older than any of the other decoys. I would bet on it. And the only reason they hired her was because they were brand new. They didn't know what the hell to do. Obviously.
I know which one you're talking. Yeah, okay. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, she's old.
I was thinking of somebody else.
Oh, yeah. There is another one that has brown hair. that is,
there's multiple ones that have
she's
brown hair.
much younger and much more believable. But no, this one, she's old. This is like first season. I think that was the only season that she was in, was the first one, or first investigation, whatever you want to call it. And I think they hired her only because of her height, because she's about 4 feet tall. And they were like, it's fine. Just roll with it.
With the Halloween USA wig on, like, just looks like absolute shit.
Those times are bad too, where it's just Dell in a wig and she won't actually like look at them.
And Dell,
like, she's like this,
more manly than me. Okay,
I know. Like, I even the times where it's not supposed to be a guy, like, I just hit my toe on the banister, dude. Come on in.
I gotta get a Band-Aid. I'm gonna go get a Band-Aid, but come on in, bro. Like, come on.
And she like mumbles as she talks, and the guys are always like, what? Huh?
Hey man, I just whacked my toe on the banister.
Where are you?
I hit my toe on the banister. Oh, I gotta go get a Band-Aid. Now I'm bleeding, and I'm gonna get shot if I bleed on the rug.
You know, they always say that.
And then lending to the fact, there's one episode, I mentioned it when we were talking. We were making fun of Dell previously.
Yeah.
And there's one where she literally says, I'm gonna go get a Diet Coke, bro. Like, come on. That's not something you like until you're in your 40s, like me.
Correct. Yeah, she's terrible at it. Terrible. There was that one that I had talked about where she was on the phone trying to convince the guy to come back after he got spooked and left earlier.
I mean, they're not coming over because they're afraid that it's media.
And it's just like, come on, come back. It's fine, bro. Like, she's trying to act like she's a kid, like a guy, you know, like a young boy. And like hangs up the phone and looks like he's not coming. Yeah, she's comical.
She's very comical. So I would say my favorite female decoy is Casey. I think Casey's probably the most iconic, classic one.
Am I anything what you expected?
When he asked me how he looked, I couldn't lie to him. I couldn't tell him he was pretty.
Refresh my memory on who she is.
She has the brown, straighter hair.
Yeah,
shorter. Is
she the one that actually looks like a kid?
A little bit.
Okay.
I mean, you could tell she's 18. Let me.
Okay.
She's the one who has kind of an accent. Like, she was like, I thought she would say something like, when he came up to me, I thought he was gonna wrap his arms around me. It was really scary. It kind of like looked like that. I don't know. Here, let me just type in Casey to catch. See, it's right there, to catch a predator.
There's a decoy who's daring. Who's gonna start chasing me?
Yeah. Okay.
This one, I think she's my favorite predator.
Okay,
because she actually like has conversations with them.
Yes. And they're like, they last a really long time too. Like, she's not like the newer or like the newest one before the show ended, you know, when it was Hansen.
Oh my God, look at her. Look at her now.
The old man in the ball cap.
That's Lauren Arms.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I see her on there.
God. Oh God.
There was somebody, Chris Hansen was doing a live stream on YouTube, and somebody did a super chat and said, can you say, oh God?
Oh, but it's there's another one of that, like people make that's a huge one for people that rip on YouTube, but it's CAWD, COD. Oh God. Oh God.
Yes. That's really funny. Yeah, and so Chris Hansen did it. And then like laughed about it. But
so Casey is my favorite female predator.
It's hard for me to say like a favorite, but
female predator, is that what I just said? I think I just said female predator. Female decoy.
Unfortunately, we don't have any female predators for some reason. They don't exist or something. But the newest girl, though,
she's good.
And there's a couple, but there is like the newest girl. I have no idea what her name is, but she gets scared so quickly.
So what do you want
Like
to do?
as soon as a predator goes, "Can I have a hug?" She goes, "I'm scared," and then runs away. And then Chris Hansen comes in. You know,
I'm not gonna lie. If I was a little 4 foot tall girl, I'd be afraid.
I know, but Casey, your favorite, she would just.
She's great,
she didn't
though.
care.
That's why she's my
she
favorite.
Didn't care. She would just keep talking to him until Chris Hansen would like tap her on the shoulder.
There was
like, hey,
one.
It's
my turn.
There was one where the guy was like, "Come on and sit in my lap, baby," and she was talking about it in Predator Raw, and she was like, "He made me feel so comfortable. I almost did it."
Okay, moving on.
Oh my god. Yeah.
My favorite male decoy, though, he's a real flamboyant little
blonde-haired kid.
Yep. He was like, "What you doing there, Stanley? Are we
yes.
What are we gonna do later? Gonna get a jacuzzi? Take our clothes off?"
So what do you think we should start with?
What are you thinking?
I don't know. It's up to you.
So what was the lesson plan for tonight?
Like he was getting
every time he talks to him, he addresses him as Stanley.
Yeah.
Like, "How you doing, Stanley? Come on in, Stanley. How you doing tonight?"
Yeah, so he's definitely my favorite.
Way too into it. Way too into it. With Stanley, Chris Hansen walks out and is like, "What are you doing, Stanley?" And he's like, "It was a joke. It was a joke. I knew it was a joke."
So after he got out of prison, like somebody called him, like pretending to be a little boy, and got like a phone sex call out of him, and it was disturbing. So obviously I'm pretty sure he's dead now, but
I'm sure he's dead now.
He obviously wasn't rehabilitated in his prison stay, but you know, he's one of the many predators who was a teacher, so you know it's always terrifying. But I think we should do our favorite predators and then wrap up.
I'm a good teacher. I need to get back to my job because I'm a real good teacher. But yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sure you are. But yes, so your favorite predator?
It's really hard to pick one, but one that always sticks out to me is Alonzo Wade. I'm just amazed at that man's stupidity. The fact that he just fully admits when he just goes, "I wouldn't have sex with her." All right, well, maybe I would. All right, fine, maybe. Well, what is it, Alonzo? Yes, no, maybe so.
Would I? No. Or maybe. All right, maybe.
What is it, Alonzo? Yes, no, maybe so. Maybe. So maybe you would have had sex with this girl.
Maybe. If she wanted sex and I was drunk enough, I'm not going to say I wouldn't. I'm not going to say I would. I can't say what I would do when I'm drunk.
I can't say I don't know what I'll do. I don't know what I do when I'm drunk. And then he goes, "Well, why'd you come here to drink?" "Well, my 13-year-old daughter's home and I don't like drinking in front of her." "So you came here to drink in front of another 13-year-old girl?" And just everything he does is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
There are other predators that I like for other reasons. Jay Refner is always a funny one. He's the one who has like a high-pitched voice. He was in Ohio. His mother was the attorney. That guy.
Okay. That one doesn't seem super familiar.
His mom represented him in court and everything. How embarrassing. Not only do you have to mention that to your parents, but your mom's to represent you in court.
Right.
That one's bad.
She could have easily have said, "Look, I don't want anything to do with this." But she stood by her son and helped him get through the first phase of the judicial process.
That's really funny.
The one predator, I can't think of his name, but Chris Hansen always refers to him as Scooby-Doo the entire interrogation, because his username was Scooby-Doo something, and he he just called him Scooby-Doo the whole time, and that always stuck out to me.
That's funny.
Pretty funny. Lauren Armstrong, obviously. Oh God, that's another pretty funny one.
Yeah. Sounds like Goofy,
Anyway. We'll have a sleep. I didn't know. What?
What about the guy that like collapses on the floor in the middle of the kitchen?
He's
and
the
then
other
goes,
Asian
I'm okay.
guy from
okay.
that episode, and he just falls.
I'm okay. And it's like, are you sure?
He like aims with his head.
We can end this. You can leave. And he's like, no, I'm fine. Continue. And he's just laying on the floor as Chris Hansen is like going, and you said you were going to blink my blink with a blink. And he's just like, okay, continue.
Oh my God. I think that Sting in particular has a lot of really standout ones. That's another classic one.
I agree.
Ernest Timmons is on that one. He's the guy who was in the military. He showed up with the camera, who got married like a week prior to this Sting.
Yeah, he's the newlywed Predator, right?
Yeah. And he, I think, died while in custody of like a heart attack, and he was like 40. Like he wasn't even old. It was really weird.
It is weird.
That one always stands out to me because it was, dude, you should, like, you just got married. Like, you should, this should be the most you've ever loved your fucking wife, bro. And you have pictures of her on that camera.
I know.
That's fucked up. And he sweats so much. He looks like you when you're at work.
Oh, yeah.
And as far as the new catches are
me.
concerned, you know, there's Jeff Sokol, but John Dupé always stands out to me. I'm here to watch the game. Because, you know, he's sweaty and nasty.
He's got his hair flipped up.
That's just thinned horribly.
His big clothes on him. And, you know, he's just like, he looks like Todd McFarlane. You probably don't know who Todd McFarlane is, but
I know the name. He does the art stuff.
Yeah, he's a comic book artist, and he also has a line of
toys.
You know, toys.
I remember seeing them at Spencer's.
Some of the best ones, but he's the creator of Spawn and the creator of Venom from Spider-Man. So, but he looks like him. Looks just like him.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But for that Sting, one that I really enjoy that I don't know if you've seen. It's the fat guy named Vincent Ambrosio, who they have a clip of him for Hansen versus Predator, but his whole interview with Chris Hansen wasn't leaked online until like a couple months ago, or maybe like a year ago or so.
Oh, really? Okay.
A couple years. Yeah. So that one's pretty interesting. But I would say those are some of the standout ones. But again, so many of them are just interesting in so many ways. So, you know, there's really no time to ever cover them all.
No. And it's so hard. I feel like we just scratched, you know, the surface of this.
I know, like we've been talking about conspiracy theories and icebergs. We have this is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg here.
It is very much so. And if anybody watching this enjoys this conversation, then let us know, and we'll do a second part of it, which goes for obviously everything.
Yeah.
But especially this, because I really feel like we haven't even talked about anything, you know. But
I know, right? And it's obviously going to be about over an hour's worth of footage.
I know. But you know, whatever. My favorite, I mentioned it. It's Jeff Sokol. And he's just so goofy, and he's so arrogant.
Yes, I was going to say it's his canter and his demeanor as he has the fucking gall to eat this pizza.
Yes, he's so confident too. Like he thinks like, you don't have anything on me. You know what I mean? And he has the same sort of demeanor as I'm not going to say the person's specific name, but he has the same sort of you know, just the demeanor. Not that this person is a predator, but the same demeanor as one of our previous bosses. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Just that sort of like, you know, just, you know, very cocky sort of arrogance. Exactly. That's what it reminds me of. And he also has the arrogance, Jeff Sokol, not our boss, to Papa Cialis as well. And has a boner through the entire interrogation that he keeps on trying to cover up because he's trying to prove to the police that he didn't really take it. You know what I mean? Which you see him take it on camera right before he starts eating.
In the middle of it all, Sokol pulls out a medicine bottle. You can see it on the video. He takes a pill, apparently in preparation for what he thinks is going to be a big night ahead.
And they're just like, so obviously you had planned something. I mean, I don't know when you took it. And he's like, if I took it, I would have taken it at home. And they're like, for all we know, you did. And he keeps on like crossing his legs and stuff. And you know what it's like when you're like a teenager and
the wind goes by
class and the wind goes by and you kind of like, you look down to like make sure that, you know, nothing is too obvious. That's what he keeps doing through the entire interrogation. But yeah, so eats a pizza, shoveling it into his mouth, thinks that he has the high ground in the situation. He's the Obi-Wan to Chris Hansen's Anakin, he thinks. And obviously he's screwed because he's an idiot. And apparently you don't see anything about this in the episode, but in his interrogation, it's brought up multiple times that he brought alcohol and that he was going to drink with her and all this kind of stuff. So he was screwed. I have no idea what happened to him. I think he's out of prison now, though, and changed his name. This is what I've heard. And even went onto some website like To Catch a Predator wiki or something and wrote on it that he died to try and get people off of his,
awesome,
off of his back. So, because it's the one and only website that says it, and it was edited by a user, and it whatever. So
I love it even more.
I know, right? He's real good. So for just a multitude of reasons, he is my favorite. And it's one of the few times him and John Dupay, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Where they go in for a hug and it's that girl, the decoy immediately dodges out of the way and then goes out the room, which then Chris Hansen,
if you ever walk
in.
into a house and see a curtain hanging from a doorway.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah, it's so funny.
And what round of normality is that? You know what I mean? Unless it's like a beaded hippie thing. You know what I mean? There's
so weird.
Just a curtain.
You know that the windows are like that too. They're blocked out, the windows.
Yeah. So
it's like, you know, because that's just what they do when they film inside of a house anyway, because they will provide their own light. So there's so many red flags, but so there's that guy, and one other one I'll mention is they call him like the Undertaker Predator. He's the guy that wears the cowboy hat and the big coat and the cowboy boots and the mom jeans.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's like he's real big. And what's his name?
Is that the newest guy? Because Vincent Ambrosio in Hansen versus Predator has the trench coat, cowboy boots, cowboy hat.
Okay, yeah. You're right.
He talked about him being overweight, and Chris Hansen goes, "I had a father who was overweight," and it's
tough.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Chris?
Like, I get that it's tough.
As Chris's belly's like pouring over.
I know.
You can just see his belly on like the frame of the camera.
I know, and it's so insincere too when he says it, like he doesn't even give a crap. And his dad, who's probably still alive, goes, "What the hell, Chris? I'm not fat. You're fat."
That's the one where he fucking just tosses his pocket knife on the table.
Yeah,
just sighs.
It is.
Yeah.
Chris Hansen was like, "I didn't know what he had planned for that, but my nerves subsided rather quickly."
Basically saying this guy's a fucking pussy. I'm fine.
Yeah, you're right. That was his name. And because he keeps on going, Vincent, because he keeps saying, "I'm a fat sack of shit. I'm just gonna kill myself right now, Vincent."
Yeah.
And that guy's a pretty good one too. Like, look at the way I dress. Nobody wants to be friends with me. Look at how I dress.
That's a very good impression of him.
Academy or
wow, that was pretty good.
And thanks. And it's just like when he walks in initially too, and just like I want to
takes off his hat, milady, just a total milady. That's what he looks like.
Yeah. And he's just like, I'm gonna go where it's warm in Florida or Texas. That's where I want to be. You know, that whole kind of thing. And she's just like, oh, is that explains the hat and the boots, which totally gives away the fact that
I'm more of a
she's
Four
a
Seasons
decoy
kind of girl. That's what she says.
Yeah, that is what she says. Like, I always wonder that too. I'll say this, obviously I know we have to end it, but aren't they aware when they start talking to the decoy and the decoy doesn't know things about them, that this is not the person? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because he's just like, when he says he's going to go move somewhere warm and she just goes like, oh yeah, where? Like that kind of thing. Like, obviously, you know, he's had to have talked about this before, especially when you're talking.
You're the
to
only
people
person he's
over the
talked
course
to
of
in years.
Months. Right. Exactly. And even crazier, he was only like 18 years old. 18
yeah,
or 19.
really young. I think that's the reason why they didn't show it at first, but somehow they got around
but
to
he
doing
still
it.
got arrested though, which
Did
I
he?
get it's still illegal. Still illegal, but you know, at that point, because with Hansen versus Predator, they would always say the girl was 15 for some reason. So you have a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old. Come on. You know, come on.
I mean, I get it, but
that's not a big deal. You know what I mean?
I mean, a lot of it's just a moral gray area with this show, which is, I think, the reason why it's never been consistent and why it's always had problems and had to get renewed. And is that even the proper word for news? Show? Anyway, but you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it got canceled a bunch of times and brought back. Yeah, who knows? So that one's a little to me, you know. And Chris Hansen, that was another one where he's like, I understand that you might want to feel bad for these predators until you read the chat. And it's like,
and you got to remember what they were here to do.
Exactly. And it's like, well, as soon as that girl turns 16, you know, the age of consent is 16, as crazy as that is. I just can't wrap my mind around that. That's neither here nor there, though. I mean, God, that's awful. But still, as soon as she's 16, no problem. It's legal now. You know what I mean? So,
right.
If he was there to meet a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old, I can see it. But he was so young himself that it's like, I don't know. Depending on what the chat log, I guess, consisted of and stuff, I might have just sort of overlooked it, but
still a very interesting predator nonetheless.
Very interesting. Yes. Yeah, he's certainly up there. And one last one I'll mention, because I mentioned that I hate the people that bring kids into it, real kids into it, as well as animals into it. There's the guy that wanted to have sex with the dog. That was a really early one. And he even walks in, and Chris Hansen brings it up that as soon as he walks in, he looks around and goes, where's the dog? Like, you can see it on his mouth. He goes, where's the dog? Like, he's like looking around. And then Chris
That was the guy who was
out.
like sniffing and twitching and like bouncing around like the whole. Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yep. Yeah, that was a weird one.
Totally.
A really weird one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the very first thing. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Like the very first.
Yeah.
We're doing an investigation. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what the police think about them. I guess they must like it because it's all these arrests and money for their city, and they jump around. I think they should come to Michigan personally. I know that the show is not really on anymore, but bring it back and bring it to Michigan and let's see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because I think that you could get some scumbags here in the area. So, yeah, but that's really it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
And
until we make a part 2, because as I edit this, I'm gonna find a million things I forgot, and so are you. But it could be a 2-parter because obviously we know quite a bit about the show. So
yes, it hasn't happened to me in a while where I felt like I hadn't fully said everything that I wanted.
No, because we've been talking for a while, and I know there's.
I feel like we haven't gotten anywhere.
I know.
our first conversation was better somehow, you know, not that, again, that's probably not even true. And if we had the recordings of the original one, I'd probably be like, I'm an idiot. But I felt like we covered so much in that first conversation, and that was only like 20 minutes long. And this one's an hour plus. And, you know, we covered a lot of stuff, but I could just go on and on and on. But, you know, so we'll cut it off, I guess. Some people have to get to work.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Actually, I'll do this. I think when you edit, it's over here. But whatever.
Still very entertaining nonetheless.
It's an infinite amount of entertainment value that comes from this. So
yes. So we infinitely hope you enjoyed this. And
hopefully,
if you want to, we'll definitely do another part talk about Predators. It's an interesting topic. So
it is, yes, for sure. If you've never watched the show before, which I can't even wrap my mind around how that could be possible, definitely go check it out. You will not regret it. In fact, you'll probably hate us for it, really, because you're gonna have less time, less free time in your life after you find that.
Yes.
So, but
you know, on the way to work, I'm gonna watch Predator. Or not okay. I don't. When I say I watch the video on the way to work, for the YouTubers out there, because I listen to YouTube. Yeah, and for the police. Yeah. So I'll be listening to these on the way to work, and hopefully I won't be blanked in the blank with that blank in traffic.
Man, I'm gonna rip that little blank and then blank your blank.
Can I put my blank in your ear? Oh, dang, that'd be cool.
Oh,
never tried that before.
For the longest time, when there's several guys that go, I'm just gonna rip your little blank and blank, that kind of little thing. And I would always think, what are they ripping? Please God, don't. Don't. And then it occurred to me finally, I'm like, they're probably panties is what they're saying. But then again, maybe not though, because they blank it out.
Yeah, Brandon,
no.
That's not what you're too naive.
Oh no. Well, it goes back to what I was originally thinking then. That they're gonna rip their vagine? That's what they're saying. They're gonna say, I'm gonna rip your little vagine.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you next week. And WAYSH
really took it like sleeve of wisdom.
She was a young Hefgood plow. If I buy the car, will it come with a magnet? All right.
This is all just, who knows what this is. All right. Bye, everybody. We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.